What is up, everybody? It's X, and welcome back to the Arena Limited Championship Qualifier, our chance to play some competitive draft on Arena. It is best of one draft instead of best of three, unfortunately, but we still get to draft whatever deck we want through our draft pod. We get to use our drafting prowess to try to find what's the most open and powerful deck in the pod, and take it as far as we can get. So still excited to hop back into it. Without further ado, let's get in there. You probably know the drill by now. All right, here we are for the pack one, pick one, where we start with a great elemental, the Sunderflock here. Really strong against any non-elemental deck. You can often cast it for pretty cheap. Get one of those 4-mana elementals on your board, get a 5-mana 5/5 flyer, bounce your opponent's board back to their hand. Really strong rare, and I'm happy to start with it here. If it weren't in the pack, I do like the Glamour Gifter, combat trick on a stick creature. Cinder Strike's also good removal. The Virulent Emissary is probably the best elf in the pack, so those are the top three for a bad rare in this pack. But there was a good rare. We get to start with Sunderflock. Pick number 2, nothing fantastic for blue elementals. The Summit Sentinel is fine. If we go 3-color, Mutable Explorer is a really good ramp card that's also technically an elemental because it's a changeling towards the Sunderflock, so I like Mutable Explorer here. Weirdly enough, it's a pretty weird pick 2 after a Sunderflock, but the on-color, like, elementally stuff is just alright, like a Rooftop Percher versus Summit Sentinel kind of pick here. Or even like a Prisma Basher towards like a green-blue-red Vivid Elemental deck could be okay, but if I'm going to do that, I might as well take Mutable Explorer instead. Pick 3, Cinder Strike. Excellent red removal. 1 mana, deal 4 if you blight, so it can clear out a lot of stuff for really cheap. Blossom Bind's also pretty good, but it doesn't shut off the abilities of the card, which means it's not the greatest against some of the lords, the creatures that buff the rest of your board. Which are some of the better uncommons, so I think the Blossom Bind can be a little worse than Cinder Strike on average, but they're really close in power level. Pick number 4. Not seeing any good elementally stuff here, but we do see a Great Forest Druid for Vivid fixing in green, blue, red. Don't hate that. The Unexpected Assistance would be the best card just for blue-red straight up, just a solid draw spell. Little better in Merfolk, you get a little bit more creatures out early for that deck to convoke, plus you can benefit from tapping your creatures in that deck. Tomb Skimmer is a really strong card, but blue-black is not super supported. And we're also not really in that direction right now. I'm going to grab the Druid. Pick 5. I like Omni Changeling a lot for the elemental strategies. I kind of like it in anything. Copy the best creature on the board, and it is now also whatever creature types you need it to be. Plus, you can convoke it to cast it for pretty cheap. It's just a really good clone. The Zealot is also just a really good elemental. These are both great cards. Grab the Omni Changeling here. Pick 6, there's one of those filler 2-drop elementals. I find the elemental decks tend to be a little bit slower than they are aggressive, so I do prefer the blue Summit Sentinel over the red Flame Chain Mauler. The more defensive elemental drawing you a card when it dies, rather than the more aggressive one trying to push more damage in. It's a better card to blight onto with stuff like Cinder Strike too. I think Summit Sentinel's the better of the two. I mean, I suppose Stratosaur is also fine, especially if we go 3-color with that land cycling. But I'm going to make sure I get some 2-drops to throw my Cinder Strike blight onto. Pick 7, super weak pack overall. We can splash into a Vivid payoff with the Kith Keeper. Or just play like a Hexproofy Flyer or a Hexproofy Trick. I guess I'm deeper into blue than any other color. I could speculate on this Flash Flyer. Like, it's Flasher for the Fairies deck, and then if we wheel like the blue-black fairy thing and know that we are literally the only fairy player in the pod, we could do some stuff with it. Now we could take Changeling Wayfinder for going Vivid if we're 3 colors. Pick 9, there's that Unexpected Assistance. That'll be perfectly fine, and will also be really good if the blue-black fairy happens to wheel, and we try to do that. This is an elemental and really good in the blue-black fairies if that happens to wheel, which I believe would be next pack, not this one. Doesn't. Somebody's trying to do it. I think somebody's trying to do it. Somebody that isn't me. Dang it. All right, so it would have been better to have a second copy of Summit Sentinel instead of a Mischievous Sneakling, but not astronomically better. It is still relevant types. Here is an elf rare, but we did not see a lot of elves. There's a Tam we can play in blue alone. No relevant creature types, but a pretty decent ability for later. Protecting your stuff from removal. Yeah, I mean, this pack's really just a bunch of okay cards and then a really good elf rare that we can't play. So it's like an okay Tam, an okay Summit Sentinel, an okay Stompling. Just take one of the blue cards here. I'll grab a Tam. Elf player won the lottery. Double high perfect opened right next to each other. It's crazy odds. We'll grab a Stratosaur here. Another Tome Skimmer for whoever took that. Shimmer Wild's Growth for our Vivity nonsense, because there's no elementals in here, looks fine. So blue-green at the core, splash the red for the Cinder Strike. It's going to be an interesting deck for sure. Should be pretty fun. I mean, blue is certainly pretty open. Glenlendra's Answer here. Splash in black for Nameless Inversion. Man, this actually would have been a really good pod for the blue-black card. Because either of these cards would be great for that deck. We picked up a bunch of other cards that were great for it late. It's kind of a bummer. Worry Farmer is a little hard to cast because it's double green, but it would be good for any vivid payoffs, which we don't actually have. Just happen to be kind of splashy blue-green. Yeah, I'd just take the Lofty Dreams. Turn any of our creatures into a reasonable endgame threats. And draw cards so we don't get 2 for 1. Summit Sentinel or Wildvine Pummeler. Both look okay. At this point, I go grab another finisher. Very mid-pack. We're not going to have enough elementals for Crescendo probably, but also Glamourmite doesn't do much. We can just grab this one. I don't think Midnight Tilling's particularly good outside of elves. Does dig for our best cards, but I think all our removal is going to be non-permanents, which makes it a little rough. Okay. We're certainly not in a dream draft pod here. There's no super open type of the 5 best decks in the set. So we're going to have to be blue-green, moderately vivid. Another great pack for the elf player. Good, like the good elf cards are not getting passed late, but good lord, are we opening them? That's super disappointing. I'll take a Rooftop Perch or a Flaring Cinder here. You got a lot of 3s? Not really. I'll take a Flaring Cinder over Percher. I'm not that deep into red. If red were a core color, I might take Giant Fall there. I'm still really low on removal. Another Great Forest Druid. And a Goblin card and a Blight Rot is all that's really in here. We'll take the Great Forest Druid. Now there's a Goblin rare, which we can't play. Giant Fall or Omni Changeling. I love Omni Changeling so much. But I really need more removal. Come on, Giant Fall. I'll take this one and splash that one in. Kolrath, sell it. Don't mind it. There's a finisher. Goblin card, removal spell. That's all that's in there otherwise. Twin Flame Travelers for elementals. Well, now we're seeing some elemental cards. I feel like that's strong enough. I have to take it over Blossom Bind, even being low on removal. There's a Tweeze for us for removal. Here is a Swat Away for interaction. Temporary interaction, but interaction nonetheless. Now I feel kind of bad I took this Giant Fall, because now I've got enough removal. I could have not played Giant Fall and played the second Omni Changeling. But can't see the future. We had a lot of no removal packs early. Probably running something like this. This pack's pretty mid. Tam is slow enough. I don't think you really want 2 copies because of the legend rule. Take the counter spell, but I don't think I'm playing it. Another pummeler. Nothing here. Triple Wildvine Pummeler. I'll probably actually play this Wicker Maw. Okay. I mean, we have beef, we have interaction, we have everything you can hope for when none of the types are super open. The best deck we could have had out of this pod would have been elves, because we just happened to open a bunch of elf rares late, and that happens. I don't think we really could have navigated ourselves naturally into anything great here. Nothing was massively open. Maybe that blue-black flash deck could have played a bit better than this. But none of the core types. Okay. I mean, what if I just completely try to just go cheesy and get early Wildvine Pummelers for wins? Shimmer Wild's Growth, Wicker Maw, double Great Forest Druid. I mean, we can try. That's. Got the Summit Sentinels at that point. Yeah, Mutable Explorer also ramping up. I mean, even Twin Flames Traveler didn't end up with much to double. Can double Omni Changeling or Kolrath Zealot. Or the Summit Sentinels if we keep them in. I kind of still want to keep it. It's also a flyer that hits Vivid. If I drop the Giant Fall. Make some flying Wildvine Pummelers. That's the dream plan here. Nah, Giant Fall's still pretty good with all these. And I guess I have double Great Forest Druid, Wicker Maw, a Zealot, and a Stratosaur that can land cycle. What if I drop a Wayfinder? It's probably fine. Okay, Wildvine Pummeler Cheese.deck. 11 blue, 8 green, 6 red. Man, it's a little awkward here. I think we can do 773. I might even go higher on green because all of our early stuff is the green, and the green hits the other colors. 863. The mana's a problem, but it is what it is. The mana might be enough of a problem to get rid of like a draw spell for the colorless card that can get whatever color we need. Changeling Wayfinder actually does look pretty valuable to this deck. Alright, sure. Get rid of the dedicated card draw. I still have a draw 1 here, discard a card, draw a card here, draw an extra card here. There's a little bit of value still. Call it a deck there, hop in the gameplay, see how far this one can take us. Here we are, unfortunately, on the draw for game number 1. But we can try to cheese out a somewhat early Wildvine Pummeler. Flaring Cinder. Sneakling's better for Pummeler. We play Sneakling and then Pummeler only costs 3 mana, so we can play Pummeler next turn, but we can't play Pummeler right now either way. Let's go like Sneakling and Giantfall, I guess. Just destroy the Wicker Maw. And play a Sneakling. And then I still have a Cinder Strike for later. I think this is, well, I don't know. I mean, they're land cycling now, so what are the odds they need the Wicker Maw from there? Yeah. That just finds their permanent red source anyway. Ashling Rekindled. That's too thick. Too thick for me to Giantfall yet. Oh my god, they have green cards too? Maybe I should have Giantfell the Wicker Maw. What on earth? Such a forest. Big boy. Time for Flaring Cinder to draw us into all of the goods. Like more Wild Vine Pummelers. Explosive Prodigy, kill Sneakling. Oh. Explosive Prodigy, double spell to kill Pummeler? Sure. Pummeler got a 2-for-1, that's not bad. No, Tam could have saved you. Maybe. We would have needed Tam a while ago. It would have to be a non-summoning sick Tam. Good draw from Flaring Cinder. Mutable Explorers, a 1/1 and a 2/2. Weirdly enough, I feel like all my creatures are valuable enough to not trade into a Flame Blader. Flame Braider, is that just wrong? It's probably just wrong. Still not gonna do it. I'll just start attacking with the Mutavault. They've got the Tweez for Tam. And Tam does not protect themselves. Discard a card, draw a card. So they're playing off the top. But they get 2 draws here, one from Tweez, one for their turn. Our Mutavault gets damage in or trades into Flame Braider, and then everybody else can get in. Wow. Unfortunately, one of their 2 draws was really good. Boulder Dash to kill the Flaring Cinder, which was how we were going to win the top deck war. And then it also kills one of our 1/1s. And then the other draw was another spell, another 3/2 creature, so now they're ahead on creatures. Okay. It's going to be one of those back and forths, and they drew double spell. We have started with double land. Left in our hand, they drew triple spell. I mean, that's quite expensive. But it's a 5/5 flyer. Doesn't even bounce anything because all their stuff's elementals. Don't do it to me. You didn't hit quad spells, did you? Kind of acting like they hit quad spells. Oh my god, do I still not have 9? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. I still don't have Thunderflock mana. It's pretty funny. Eclipsed Flamekin. Damn, and that's the 4th spell out of 5 draws, and their last card in hand might be a 5th spell, like just a removal spell, but we don't have creatures out. Might be 5 for 5 here. Kithkeeper, ew. So we kill the Flame Braider then. Keep them off Kithkeeper till they play more lands. Okay, well, 5/5 flyer. We have started with a pretty bad matchup. The Elemental Mirror makes the Sunderflock pretty rough. There's a big draw spell for them. Finds their lands for Kithkeeper. And then Kithkeeper is the creature they need to block and trade with Sunderflock, and then I don't have anything left. Just my one Mutavault I'm using to hold off their Flamecaster. I guess they can just play the Stratosaur here and they already have a double block set up. They're going to leave the Stratosaur in exile and play the Kithkeeper to get the 1-for-1 trade with Sunderflock, but again, Stratosaur would have been a 1-for-1 trade as well if they double blocked. Finding more lands, that means we gotta pass. We're going to have to trade into Kithkeeper on blocks probably. There's Twin Flame Travelers, doubles up Enraged Flamecaster abilities at worst. There's yet another land for us. Another creature from our opponent, another land from us. Another land for us. 13 life to 6 now. We're very close to the kill. Oh, sorry about that. If they cast a 4-mana instant, we die on the spot. Those we're supposed to chump here. We don't have any draws that change this, regardless of if we get another turn or not. There's another creature. Why didn't they pre-combat that? Oh, yeah. Oops. Fair enough. Fair enough. Omni Changeling on Flamekin. Stratosaur is not enough. That's 2 blockers. So I'll give them the GG. And that is 0-1. Rough first game of Magic here. We drew quite a few lands, and it was not a particularly good matchup either, because our Asunder Flock just doesn't really work against them. So it is what it is. That will be 0-1 heading into game 2. Here we are on the play for game number 2. I think we're supposed to keep Mutable Explorer into Pummeler. Not having red is pretty rough, but Mutable Explorer is going to ramp us into Pummeler and give us 2 creatures off 1 spell. If we draw any of our hybrid mana cards, we're going to have a very early Pummeler, and we did draw Sneakling, so good start to that. I think this is a reasonable keep. There's another hybrid card, but it's not an affordable one. Our opponent starts with double Swamp. So we are going to have a turn 4 Pummeler here to start jamming in. Unfortunately, that Feastling's going to roadblock the 2/2s and the 1/1. They're on triple Swamp for now. That's all they've currently got. They could have a Blight Rot to clear out this Pummeler. They turn it into a 2/1 and eat it with the Feastling. I don't have any way to play around that. I have no other lines and no other creatures that matter at all on attacks. I mean, if they have a Blight Rot here, we're just dead in the water. Our play around Blight Rot is sit here and do nothing until they draw the right lands. I think we just hope that it is anything other than Blight Rot, such as the Death Touch trick or the 1/2 thing. It's exactly Blight Rots. Any of the other tricks would have been fine. And again, even if we play around the Blight Rot, we're sitting here doing nothing. Oh, this is rough. I'm not playing any more lands with Flaring Cinder in hand. They have found their second color. Just Squawk Roaster. Oh, man. We're just drawing uncastable spell after uncastable spell for now. At least that's castable, but it's not mana towards any of the 4 cards that are just stranded in our hand right now. Man, this set, I don't know. I have not been loving these drafts. I mean, it's hard to enjoy when you're losing, but it's also like some of the stuff we're playing against, it feels like there could be some absolute clunker decks when you're in a competitive draft pod like we are here. Like, even our opponent is probably not very happy with their deck. Feastling, Squawk Roaster, Shimmer Creep here in their Goblins deck. And they're all fine cards, but just nothing great. Just kind of how I feel about our deck. It just feels like any pod where the core typal strategies are not particularly open, you just are going to end up with such a filler deck overall. And that's really what happened to us today. And our first draft as well, our green-white one. But that we did have some really strong elf payoffs still. Just didn't have removal. We're dying pretty quick on this board. At the very least, we can get to our next draft super fast. I could actually counter the Evolving Wilds, which is fun. But I'm not going to do that. Not really going to counter a 2-2 either. I mean, we're mega dead. I probably should have actually double blocked Feastling instead. Although then I take all that double strike damage instead. I'd be at 3 life if I did that. That is not gonna get us there. But we can finally cast our cards. I think I'm dead. Right, I Cinder Strike that, chump Percher, chump Auntie, take 5. Okay, 5 is not 6. I guess I'm not dead. But I am triple chumping. I'm basically dead. There are no draws that'll get out of this one at this point. Okay, now I would be literally dead without the Mutavaults. The changelings kill us. And that's too expensive anyway, because I've got nothing on the board. Wow. Like 2 sinking ships crossing in the night. I don't think either of our decks have any shot at getting the 7 wins. Man. Yeah. That felt like a battle of the odd ones out at the draft table. All right, I mean, it is what it is. You all saw the draft itself. There was not any great spot to be here. Unless we had just foreseen exactly what rares we were going to open. No particularly open archetype. Danced around, tried to play the best stuff we could, and it was not enough. Yeah. Lorwyn is a format that I think has aged really poorly. Lorwyn Eclipsed, at least, for me. Early on, like during the early access event, it was pretty fun. Like before everybody knew the general power level of the archetypes and the signposts and commons and everything, during early access, you were able to pull off some of those off-color decks and get some pretty decent stuff going with them on occasion. And I'm sure during the first like week of the set, you could do that as well. But as the format has kind of been solved and we see just how much more supported the core typal decks are and how much more powerful they are when they pop off, it just feels like you are just crossing your fingers and hoping that there's a great open typal deck in your pod, especially in a cross pod event like this where you're playing against a bunch of people from different draft pods where many players in seats like this are just like, well, can't get a super great deck, but some player in a different pod could just like take a great elf rare and then just force it from that point on. The only way that I know I'm going to have a great deck is if elves happens to be open from here, so I'm just going to force it the whole time. If it doesn't go well, whatever, I'll scoop and start another run. If it does go well, then I'll win the whole thing. It kind of feels like that, and I've been seeing a couple comments from some pro players online with similar sentiments, and that's kind of how I feel. But hey, we've still got at least one more try at these, so maybe I'll just force from the get-go and hope for the best. That honestly seems like the best strat here. Just pray that it's super open, because that's what I feel like I've been experiencing here. When we had better decks, like in the first couple runs, it felt like just getting paired into decks from stronger pods where the types were more open, like just getting paired against the elf deck that goes triple elf rare plus double elf lord and stuff like that, where it's like, I mean, you're just not gonna beat that by trying to stay open and find the most open pair. The only way you're gonna beat that is if you just force a pair from the start and it happens to be open, really. Feels like a lot of variance to the Lorwyn Eclipsed draft format, so I don't know. Feels like a rough way to start out the limited championship qualifiers, not only in terms of like we're probably not going to win, which was already not likely. You got to win so many games in a row, but also it hasn't been a super interesting draft format. I think our first two drafts were very kind of on rails, and kind of like, I think most experienced drafters would end up with almost the exact same decks as we had in the first couple drafts. This one was more nebulous. Yeah, I don't think there's a reasonable argument to be made that you could 100% foresee that you should be in elves in this pod, because I think the biggest reason to be in elves were the cards that we opened. But I do think that things were close enough in several of the other picks that it's possible somebody else would have just naturally ended up with a decent amount of random fillery elves by the end of pack 1 as like a backup plan, and then be able to move on to High Perfect Morcant and just follow that ship from there. So this one was a little more nebulous than the first two, but honestly, first two drafts, I think they were pretty on rails. I don't think we did anything really wrong there. I think most players would end up with very similar decks, and they just don't do quite enough. So hopefully our next deck can take it a little bit farther. But for today, that's going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and you're interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. Other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena. Hey everybody, it's GauntletX, and today we have a very different video for you all. I'm going to be opening a Modern Horizons 3 Play Booster Box that I won off of playing Arena. They do Arena Direct events. Haven't done one in a little while, but they were a series of events you could play for 5,000 gems, and if you manage to get a bunch of wins in sealed before getting, I believe, only 2 losses to be out, then you win a whole booster box of whatever set it was. So again, 5,000 gems per event, that's about $25 USD, and I managed to win a Modern Horizons 3 Play Booster Box on the 6th attempt. So this essentially cost me $150 instead of $250. So while we will be playing the booster box game today, tallying up the total value of everything worth $2 or more, I only really need to reach $150 to be able to sell those cards and get my money's worth. So that's the goal for today. This is going to be a little bit of a different style of content for me, so excuse me if the video quality isn't the greatest, the angle's a little weird. It was a bit of a hassle setting this all up, but just felt like a special thing we could do since I need some more videos to tide you over while I'm out at MagicCon Vegas. So that is going to be the premise of today's video. Can we get $150 of value out of this Modern Horizons 3 Play Booster box that I won just by playing digital Magic the Gathering? So let's bust this thing open. It has been a while. Obviously, I could have opened this some time ago, but I'm not much of a pack opener. Oh my god, I understand why people get a little pocket knife or something to open these things. This is rough. Just gonna manhandle it like the Hulk. We're getting ready for the Marvel Universes Beyond next year. Although I heard it's gonna be a Spider-Man set, interestingly, instead of an everything set. But there's gonna be like tons of Marvel sets, I'm sure. So we'll get a Hulk card sooner or later. Anyways, this is going to be a very rambly video because I don't know how to do pack openings. So it's going to be like Tolarian Winds or something, except I have no idea what the content of this video is going to be about. So what is this? Scan here to discover the coolest cards. Learn more about the collectible treatments in Modern Horizons 3. No, I'm good. Oh, and here's the draft archetypes if you were drafting this at your LGS and you didn't know what's going on. I could throw this at you, slap you in the face with that. So I guess since I am mainly a draft channel, we could go over some pack one pick ones if we want. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. Depends how long this is gonna take. I assume it'll be a little while, but here we go. This is actually 36 booster packs. I know for set boosters, they started doing less packs, but yeah, this is 36 packs of play boosters. So I guess play boosters, they kept just like draft booster packs where you have 36 packs, which is enough for 2 6-player drafts or enough for an 8-player draft, the ideal draft amount with some prize support. So that's pretty sweet. So pack one. What do we got here? Just going to go over the really important cards, really. I'm not very familiar with the prices, so I'll be going over them after the opening. But I will be mentioning things that I know for sure are sweet. Well, this does not look like a banger. We got an Arena of Glory for this pack. Pack one, pick one here. What do we take? I remember Scurry of Gremlins being pretty gross. The energy decks were quite nice. And these Scurry of Gremlins here being a great finisher for that archetype. Don't see any super good monocolor cards, although I did enjoy the Wormcoil Larva. Annoyed Altasar was fun, and you could get up to high mana values off of the spawn tokens, so I'd probably be on Scurry of Gremlins here, but pretty good pack overall. I'm pretty excited about this opening, because if we can get 150 bucks of value and I can sell off all that random stuff, I get to keep all of the random energy commons and uncommons to use with my Fallout Energy Commander decks. Oh, come on. I know you can do it. There we go. See cards like Inspired Inventor, all these little energy commons. Bunch of landscapes onto the uncommons here. Rallin the Implicit Maze, Envoy of the Ancestors, Planar Genesis, and there at rare, we have Sapphire Medallion, which when the set first came out, this was a decently valuable card, but I know that these cards kind of dropped like a rock in value. Although we did get a double rare pack with Genku, another card I think is likely worthless. Bit of a bummer there. I'm going to keep these packs together for the most part. Actually, I'll have them divided by their tokens, so that if I do manage to scrounge up enough people to do some drafts, I can still do drafts with these packs. Certainly the ones that don't have value in them, at least like those last couple. Oh my god, this is... How do people do this? This is why I'm a digital creator. Where do I put this? Alright. Oh, God. Somewhere around here. Wow, that is way farther up than I thought. Okay, Fanged Flames, Aether Spike, Nightshade Dryad, Refurbished Familiar, Rose-Caught Knight, Void Pouncer, Void Craw, Drownyard Lurker, and here's the important stuff. Path of Annihilation. This card was insane. For Eldrazi decks, it ramps you up so much. because you get 2 Eldrazi spawn token, and those tokens are now tapping for mana of any color, as well as any other Eldrazi that you've played. So turn 4 Path of Annihilation, you had to be expecting potential 8-drop Eldrazi's from your opponent the next turn, so that card was sweet. There's an Ironworks, which was fine, Witch Enchanter, which was fine, Deep Analysis, which was fine, and Psychic Frog as the rare. That is actually a sweet one. I believe it's on the Legacy watch list for something that is at risk of getting banned in Legacy because it's so powerful there. So it's got to be worth maybe $10 or something, but we'll see. Looks like a sweet one. Let's make sure to put that token at the bottom to separate these packs here so I can draft them with friends later. Pack. I'm just going to start throwing trash all over the floor. It's going to be a real fun post-video day. All right. Mandibular Kite, Inventor's Axe, Sage of the Ennoble, Horrific Assault, Eviscerator's Insight, Landscape, and that's it. Ooh, lots of uncommons in this pack. I've decided I'm not going to do pack 1 bigger ones. I've already got a lot to keep track of here. All right. Furnace Hellkite, Quest for Necropolis, Glasswing Grace, and Reefworm. And for the rare, we've got an Aether Revolt here. Decent build around. Not something I would tend to take particularly highly, though. And a second rare, Ral Monsoon Mage. Probably worth a little bit, although I know that the mono-red Ruby Storm kind of decks did sort of fizzle out in Modern. They were just really easy to sideboard against or something, I think. Don't know a lot about constructed formats. I just, I hear the news a slight bit. Keep track of like who won the Pro Tour and stuff like that, and see some of the decks here and there. But yeah, I know that that was a deck that was like really overrepresented in the next Pro Tour. Like people thought it was going to be great. It was like 40% of the meta, something huge, and then it just sucked. It just lost every game. All right, Electrozoa, Oozewag, Dream Drinker Vampire, Nyxborn Unicorn, Galvanic Discharge, genuinely fantastic common. Super high pick and draft, and playable in tons of formats. Wouldn't be surprised if even at common this is worth maybe like $1. Still not going to be worth anything. Worth selling though. Alright, so through the uncommons here, we now have Pyretic Rebirth, the Creation of Avacyn, Solar Transformers, super sweet one, going to be fantastic in my Fallout Energy decks, particularly those are Dr. Madison Lee and Liberty Prime are the great energy commanders. But I could build a Rex deck as well. That'd be pretty fun. Reckless Pyrosurfer, Junk Diver, and the rare here is Imskir, Iron Eater. Very sweet affinity for artifact cards. A super, super strong, super cheap version of Bosch. But you have to be playing black and red to use that Bosch Iron Golem. So a little less flexible in terms of the decks you can play him in Commander. And I do believe that's probably where he is best. Just hanging out in Commander. Thraben Charm starts off the next pack with a Glimpse the Impossible, Unfathomable Truths, Malevolent Rumble, Accursed Marauder, Contaminated Landscape, Riddlegate Gargoyle, fantastic common. Blue-white, like build-around uncommon level. And then we're on to the uncommons. Alright, Glyph Elemental's sweet enough, I'd take that over any of the commons. Great. Mono white card here. You can put in any aggressive white deck and it's going to be fantastic. Wumpus Aberration, fantastic in Eldrazi decks. Just a 4-mana 6/6 trample with no downside. Pinnacle Monk. Pretty sweet. One of these flip land cards. These were always nice to have. Make sure that you flood out and get mana screwed less often both. The rare here is Ophiomancer, but a double rare pack with an Archway of Innovation. Don't think those are worth anything, but who knows? Certainly not me. Future me, who's editing the video, will know. Next up, Petrifying Meddler, Foul Strike, Breathe Your Last, Wing It, Infernal Captor, Tranquil Landscape, Warped Tusker, and onto the uncommons, Lion Umbra. Great for your enchantment decks. Lots of power for just 2 mana. Hope Ender Quaddle, pretty annoying counterspell. And Essence Reliquary. Looks like a 4 uncommon pack at least with Rush of Inspiration. 5 uncommons with Cephalid Coliseum. And the rare Oop, almost skipped over it. 6. This card was a ridiculous bomb. I don't know if this sees play anywhere. I wouldn't be surprised. It's quite a powerful ability. Every non-land permanent card in your graveyard has retrace, so you can recast it from your grave by paying its mana cost and discarding a land. So really strong ability there, and obviously the attacking with it is going to pick up the lands you need to discard and fill your graveyard with more spells to retrace. Really sweet stuff there. Next up, Expel the Unworthy, Thriving Skyclaw, Utter Insignificance, Gift of the Viper, Drawsclaw, Sneaky Snacker, Bountiful Landscape, Golden Tail Trainer, Amped Raptor, incredible uncommon, probably worth a few bucks. Just a banger in multiple formats. Definitely a pack one, pick one worthy card. Sink into Stupor, Priest of Titania, and the double rare 2 Abstruse Appropriations. Pretty annoying Eldrazi removal spell here. You get to exile your opponent's best non-land permanent, then you can cast it against them using your colorless mana as mana of any color. Very useful. Very, very strong card in draft. We now have Faithful Watchdog as the first card here. Let me just open this whole pack upside down. That'll be fun. Nyxborn Hydra, Scurrilous Sentry, Inspired Inventor, Inventor's Axe, Conduit Goblin, Obstinate Gargoyle, Reiterating Bolt. Already on to the uncommons here with a fantastic one. Again, great card for energy decks. Hydra Trainer, Is It Generatorium? Auto include in Liberty Prime and Dr. Madison Lee. Waterlogged Teachings, and the rares, oh, not quite yet. Decree of Justice, now the rare. Shadow of the Second Sun, really fun abilities on this card, getting an additional beginning phase at the end of your turn. So, the very end of your turn, you get to untap, upkeep, and draw again. Very sweet stuff. Now we have Dog Umbra, Skoa Ember Mage, Serum Visionary, Eldrazi Repurposer, Gravedig, Twisted Landscape, Collective Resistance, Arcbound Condor, Boggart Trawler, and a mythic Azlask, the Swelling Scourge from Modern Horizons 3 Commander. Play boosters, they're weird like that. Sometimes you can get commander cards in them. Not a bad one at all, though. Really wouldn't be surprised if it's worth a bit, and I am so willing to sell this card because even if I enjoyed the mechanic and kind of wanted to build a deck around it, no one in the world wants to play against this. It would not be fun for the commander pod, so I'm not worried about building it. We've also got Orem's Chant and a fetch land. I forgot the fetch lands were in the set because they just didn't matter in draft. But wow, do they matter when you're opening a booster box. Get a Wooded Foothills there. Probably about a $10 bill for fetch lands that have been recently reprinted, I imagine. Tempest Harvester starts off the next pack alongside Colossal Dreadmask, Retrofitted Transmigrant, Mandibular Kite, Sarpadian Simulacrum, the pack one, pick one, the bane of the format, the one huge flaw on an otherwise pretty interesting set, Writhing Chrysalis. We've now got Foreboding Landscape. Surprised that's our first Chrysalis. This might be a good box to draft if there's not going to be too many Chrysali. Twisted Riddle Keepers next. I believe in you, Camera. You got this. Followed by Frogmere Enforcer, Horrid Shadow Spinner, It That Heralds the End, Wirewood Symbiote, and for the rare, a Volatile Stormdrake, not likely to be particularly expensive, with a Meteoric Mace foil and a token to put on the bottom. Separate our packs there. Jolted Awake starts us off with a Smelted Chargebug, Deem Inferior, Basking Broodscale, Kami of Jealous Thirst, Airy Auxiliary, fantastic common, Cyclops Superconductor, tons of energy cards yet again in this pack, Deceptive Landscape, and onto the uncommons. Null Elemental Blast starts it off. Guardian of the Forgotten is next. Legion Landscape for one of the dual land flip spells. These were super sweet. That's high pickups in draft for fixing. Shrieking Drake. And Flare of Malice is the rare. Wouldn't be surprised if this is worth a couple of bucks just as a spell you can potentially cast for free. Don't think it's a super great one though. And our foil is Thriving Skyclaw. A very nice art card to split up the packs. Section number 2 now. We are 12 packs deep. Hopefully we're a third of the way towards our 150 or more. Mandibular Kite starts us off. Inventor's Axe. Stage of the Unknowable. Horrific Assault. Eviscerator's Insight. Cyclops Superconductor. And on to the uncommons. Kozilek's Unsealing. I don't know how people do this. This is such a weird angle. Undo Not Master. Unstable Amulet. This one is another banger. Multi-format all-star. Any format where energy decks are good, this is good as well. It's obviously in Modern after this set came out, but also any energy commander decks and such. And draft, of course. Sundering Eruption. Oops. Buried Alive. Very good card to have for reanimator decks in Commander. Super useful. And Party Thrasher's the rare. Not a super useful one there. Just a foil. Uncommon. Decree of Justice certainly has fallen out of favor. It's so much mana in today's Magic. Evolution Witness starts us off. Fine common. Kami of Jealous Thirst. Area Auxiliary. Molten Gatekeeper. Tune the Narrative, Basking Broodscale, Sheltering Landscape, Snapping Voidcraw, and then we're on to our uncommons. The Hunger Tide Rises for an uncommon Saga. Wizards needs to hurry up and put call time up. That's the whole reason I'm doing this video. I'm looking at the wrong camera. Is today, as the recording of this video, call time is still not up for flashback drafts on Arena, but I'm leaving for Vegas tomorrow at noon. So I don't have time to sit here and wait any longer. I have to start recording some videos for the next week. So I'm really hoping call time gets put back on Arena for those flashback drafts by the time I'm done recording this, so that every other video for this upcoming week gets to be a call time draft. Because I loved that format and I was so excited when I saw that flashback drafts of the set were coming back on today, October 22nd. But as of the recording, it is 6 hours past when they're supposed to update the events for the day, and it's still not up. So we'll see. I'm gonna be so disappointed if it doesn't get up in time and it's up on Arena like as soon as I leave for my flight and I just don't get to play call time. I'll be so sad. Anyways, the Cursed Wombat is here. I mean, that just made me think of it because call time was the first set with sagas. Not the first set with sagas, actually. That was Dominaria, but Call Time was had some really iconic sagas. It made great use of the card type. Here's Indebted Spirit. Here's Meteoric Mace. And our rare's a banger. That might be... if the cards around this deck did not get banned in anything, I would not be surprised if this is 20 bucks or more. Fancy version of a Johnny Nicodle Pariah. This card was disgusting in Pioneer, or not a Pioneer, Explorer on Arena. But a lot of Modern Horizons cards were. I feel like this card is also just great in Modern. I mean, it's got to be, right? The Ajani combo with a lot of the great energy cards was fantastic. You could flip the Ajani super easily and get just a ton of damage out. Really sweet card, super nice to get the very fancy version of him. And if he isn't worth anything, I do have a family member who loves Ajani and collects those cards, so might send him that way.